First it was reloaded, then it was revealed. Now it is resurrected. But did it need to be? Neo and Trinity are back with a whole host of surprises. Today on Infinite Realms we review The Matrix Resurrections. So up front, I'm going to say talking about The Matrix Resurrections without spoiling it is going to be very difficult. I will do my best. There may be some minor spoilers, so I'll give you that warning right now. However, now, the first thing I'm going to say, if you walk into this film expecting a new version of Bullet Time, you're going to be disappointed. It's not that type of film. It's a very meta film. It's a very self-aware film. It almost jokes at itself, but it also sends back a mirror of our society. There are several scenes that are just really kind of spooky about how we're kind of stuck in our phones. And it's really good because of that. And a lot of people are balking this because it's, not the Matrix they expected. Now, there is action, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of action. It does take a little while to ramp up, but it does happen. But the movie is not all about the action. And that's where I think people are getting lost on this movie. And there's been a lot of talk about what was so great about the original Matrix. The original Matrix, they even say it in the movie, effed with your head. But no, it was more than that. It was that what you thought was real was not real. And it was pulling the veil off and showing you reality. And reality is a lot uglier than the fantasy world we make for ourselves and each other. So this almost does it again in a different way. It makes a few stabs at illusion of choice. And again, I'm going to try not to spoil, but I will say it's very apparent that Keanu Reeves could have snapped out of whatever spell he was under at any time. And he just needed Morpheus to give him the choice. So making choice a big illusion in the movie. And that theme kind of plays out a lot. And I really had to laugh at the moment in the bathroom. It was so meta. It was like at last, and then goes into this thing about the drama and the set and then the tone and how the bathroom is different. Oh god, it was really meta, really funny too. Really well done. That's one of those scenes that really brings out to me. I've heard some people complain about that scene, and I'm like, no, that was a great scene. So the major thing about this movie is it takes a stab at nostalgia. The nostalgia we keep getting sold and recycled. And you have to admit, this does happen. Even if you do something new with a franchise, come on. The only reason you're watching it is part of that franchise. You watch The Mandalorian because it was Star Wars. I mean, yeah, you can hate the new sequels because they were just simple recycling. But at the same time, the nostalgia factor is huge in our society right now. I mean, when was the last original movie you ever heard of? Everything's based off of either a comic book or a previously made film. And of course, sequelitis plays into that as well. It's, again, how the corporations give you everything you want, which is the same thing you already had, and make you spend money for it. It's not a subtle message either. It hits you over the head with it. Very, very hard through the first hour of the movie. And I think that's why it's getting negative reviews, because people wanted to go in and get that recycling, redoing, and they didn't. They got another message film just like The Matrix was. Now, The Matrix film was a message film in an action movie, which made it phenomenal. This is more of a message film with some action parts. So, yeah, it's not as good as The Matrix. I'll give you that one. It's hard to be as good as The Matrix. That's almost impossible. I mean, especially in light that this is a sequel to The Matrix. Now, those sequels to The Matrix, oh boy. I really, really, really hated those movies. I mean, they relied more heavily on the action than they did the philosophy, and that's where it lost me. And a lot of people really dug the action and just held on. And again, those people are going to be so disappointed in this movie. Up front, I gotta say, the cast did great. Keanu, of course, did great. Carrie-Anne Moss did fantastic. One of the big surprises for me was Neil Patrick Harris. He played the bad guy, and I know that's a little bit of a spoiler, but he played the bad guy so well, so perfectly. Now, there are some clunks in this movie. The major one to me is when they started explaining why it is Neo's not dead, like he was in the end of the third Matrix movie. And the scientific gets, the little sciencey explanations get clunky and weird and shoehorned in. But by that point, you're not really here. I mean, if you're on for the message of the movie, that part you can kind of ignore. I'm still going to knock it a little bit for that part. But it's not so terrible that you'll kill the entire movie, but it's just a poor concept, and that's all I can really say about that. For this movie, I'm going to give it 4 stars, 4 out of 5. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was not what I expected. When I first heard about a Matrix movie, new Matrix movie, I was like, what else can they do? And then I saw this, and I was like, wow, okay. That was an interesting twist. I was not expecting that, and I liked that I didn't expect it. And it wasn't the typical, oh, let's turn the tropes on their heads and subvert expectations. No, let's make something different. And that is what this movie is something different. If you go in wanting to watch the old movies, sorry, no nostalgia for you. But if you want to go in with something fresh and kind of original, go for it. This is a good movie for that. That's all for Infinite Realms. I hope you have a wonderful day. And don't forget to like and subscribe.